9 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's time for the TGIF edition of Island Tea. It's Friday, January 9, 2024. Good morning, guys. What's up?
Good morning.
Hey,
I
good
even
morning.
got the cup ready that says Island Tea Morning Show. So, welcome, guys. Good morning to the diaspora and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And wherever you're listening, we're happy that you would have joined us this morning.
Yes, welcome to another edition of Island Tea. And we're here, we're ready, and we're about to discuss a number of things. We hope we are to be joined by at least two others this morning. And so
Yes.
as we wait in anticipation, we're going to start it off. And so we are hoping that everyone has had a wonderful evening. Last evening, we hope that you rested well and that you are ready for today. You know, today is an exciting day filled with opportunities. You know, once you have life, you have the opportunity to make this day grand.
Yes, the best of it.
And if it doesn't go to your expectations, look at the silver lining and look at the positive that is around you. And
Yep.
so this morning, one of the articles that we want to touch, we're going straight to the BVI.
Mm-hmm.
And Kortensia, as a former flight attendant,
Uh-huh.
you've been to the BVI, haven't you?
My second home, love it. Well, my second home from Guyana.
Oh,
St. Kitts is my third home.
oh wow.
Yeah, I love the BVI.
You know, I just happened to ask that. I
Yeah.
saw the BVI and then I said, you know, I wonder if Kortensia has been.
Can I have you deported now, you know?
She said third home. We would have understood if she
No.
said second, in it.
No.
Second, yes.
Yes, because BVI was the second.
No,
St.
no.
Kitts is the third.
She just said BVI was third.
She should have said that. Or
No.
she should have said St. Kitts.
I have to be
Considering-
honest with myself. You said, say your truth.
What? Your truth. Mm. You
BVI.
like it
She's-
that much?
She's
Love it.
Really?
being truthful.
When I flew, I went to the BVI and Guyana on every single flight every week. So every week I was in BVI and Guyana strategically,
Oh wow.
literally.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So
What's so special about it?
My family is in the BVI and
Oh,
Guyana is
okay.
home.
Okay.
oh, okay, then that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
We give you the slide this morning. We're not going to call the immigration officers or anyone like that, you know. We're
They
not going
can't
to call
come. My
anyone.
passports are still valid.
Oh yes, so we're not doing that. We're not doing that this morning. We're not doing that. Third home, we take that, okay? Because there's
Alrighty.
190 plus countries. So
Yes.
To be third, we're still good.
I know. I look at that.
It's still good.
Y'all are spared.
she barely escaped the reprisal.
Oh
so-
boy, they're roughing me this morning, guys.
No, we appreciate you and we are thankful that you're here.
Yes.
Yes. And we hope that you know, as it is in your best interest and as you enjoy here, that you stay here. You know, we want to here to be your third and maybe you know,
Final home. Because
that's
imagine
what I
if
want
I
to
stayed
say.
in my second home. Look at
yeah.
that.
And you know, her third home, if her second home was that good, she wouldn't have been here in her third home.
Oh la la.
Yeah, so we're good.
Oh boy, they're rough. They're rough, huh?
Yeah. So let's get to the article.
Yes,
that was a bit
please.
of banter. So we have the BVI Premier says psychological tool in governor's bid for more power. That's the article. And it says Premier Wheatley believes that an announcement by Governor John Rankin to seek additional powers over this British overseas territory was strategically planned to align with the trial of the former Premier Andrew Foy, which is set up to get underway shortly in the United States. According to Wheatley, who was speaking on a local radio station, the move is one that could be described as a psychological tool. And this is a quote by Wheatley. It says, Andrew Foy's trial is set to start somewhere around now. I don't take these things for granted in terms of how they plan these things, Wheatley said. He also hinted to a possible trend for outgoing governors to make a major decision when departing the territory. Quote from the Premier, he said, "The only thing I can come up with is that they have a particular method of doing things, and some of it may be psychological. For instance, when Augustus Jaspert was leaving, he announced the COI. It's almost as if they don't want to deal with the consequences of their decisions, and you can't really hold someone else accountable for their decisions, end of quote. Foy was arrested on drug trafficking charges in 2022, and shortly after, the Commissioner of Inquiry, which was already on the way in the BVI, delivered its final report to the governor and ordered the suspension of the territory's constitution. Local leaders eventually succeeded in stopping the UK from suspending the constitution, but many, including the late Malone, maintained that the Commissioner of Inquiry results were pre-planned to align with the capture of Foy. The outgoing governor has denied these allegations, saying he knew nothing about the arrest of the former premier.
Well. So they're basically saying they set up Foy to be caught.
I think what they're saying here, basically, Foy was arrested for drug charges, and here it says that when he was arrested, shortly after the Commissioner of Inquiry, which was already underway in the BVI, delivered its final report to governor and ordered to suspend the territories. I think that what he's thinking
because look what it says here. Local leaders eventually succeeded in stopping the UK from suspending the constitution, but many, including the late Carvin Malone, maintained that the Commissioner of Inquiry results were pre-planned to align with the capture of Foy.
But look at this article that
so
goes
they were
on.
inquiring a while. Okay, go ahead.
So look at this article that now is in response to that. Rankin bids farewell to BVI. This is the governor. He reflects on the challenges and hopes for reform. It says, Governor John James Rankin said farewell to the British Virgin Islands today. That was 17 hours ago the article was posted. It said Rankin demitted office following a special ceremony at Government House. Rankin said being appointed to replace then Governor Augustus Jaspert in January 2021 was a huge privilege, as he took over when the territory faced several challenges, including recovery from devastation caused by Hurricanes Irma and Maria and the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a quote. It says, "I have been proud to call these islands home," end of quote, Rankin said, while thanking Virgin Islanders for welcoming him into the community. He, however, admitted that his time at the helm was not without challenges, as the Commission of Inquiry. The former article was referring to it as the Commissioner of Inquiry, which I thought was a bit off too, but I read what I saw. But this is what I think they meant to say in the former article: Commission of Inquiry into the territory's governance. So he says here, he, however, admitted that his time at the helm was not without challenges, as a Commission of Inquiry into the territory's governance was torn on the side of many people. Rankin stated that he has had to make several difficult decisions, but they were all made with the best interests of islanders in mind. Rankin said he knows Virgin Islanders were hungry for change and want what is best for the territory. This is a quote by the outgoing governor. He said, "It is my hope and belief that the reforms which have been made and the reforms still to come will make the BVI a better place for all," end of quote. With his last hours in power, Rankin sought to amend the relationship between him and Premier Wheatley, calling him a friend and someone who had his enduring respect. Wheatley and other regional leaders criticized Rankin's recent moves to increase the governor's power. Wheatley said Rankin's power grab is strategically planned to align with the trial of former and Premier Andrew Foy, which is set to get underway shortly in the United States. Rankin, 66, is retiring from public service. He's a career diplomat and public servant and has served in the United Kingdom in several capacities, including as Governor of Bermuda, and High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. And he says here, Daniel Bruce is replacing Rankin. The governor designate has a long career of diplomatic and public service. He served as the UK's ambassador to the Philippines and with the interim Director of Communication at Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. So there is obviously some sort of dispute between now Premier and outgoing governor. And if we are to understand the history as well, we recognize that the British Virgin Island is a British territory. So the British still has, powers. And I would assume, based on this article and the knowledge that I know, that they would be instrumental in selecting the governor.
Let's just call it what it is. It's a British colony.
Wait, did your headline read BVI governor denies tampering with territory's democracy?
Oh no, we didn't read that.
Okay, that's one from Loop, but I want to read the end of it because this sums up everything. He reminded persons that the Commission of Inquiry found evidence of poor governance, misuse of public funds, assistance grants being misused in their distribution, lawmakers not registering their interests, and over 2/3 of all major contracts not being openly tendered. So when I hear about this commission inquiry, maybe they were looking into Mr. Foy all the time. So maybe they helped with his capture.
I think too. I think it's important to read the entire article. It says the governor of the British Overseas Territory, and this comes 17 hours again. So it's article after article, response after response. And it says the governor of the British Overseas Territory, John Rankin, has suggested that his hand was forced in seeking additional powers for his office from the United Kingdom to help implement the Commission of Inquiry Good Governance recommendation. So this article really is pivotal in understanding or getting more information on what we've read before. It says, speaking on local radio, the governor said his request was necessary because there has not been sufficient drive and determination across the various ministries and departments to deliver on the agreed upon Commission of Inquiry deadlines. So it seems to go based on what you were saying earlier. However, the government has pushed back on this assertion and accused the governor of overreaching and encroaching on the powers that have been additionally held by the elected officials in this territory. So it's going more on what you said earlier.
Yeah, I just need, once I went through it, that sums up every single thing. So I want to believe they were in cahoots.
So according to a report in the BVI News Online, one legislator suggested that the governor may force same-sex marriage on laws on the territory with the new powers he is seeking. And he says here, and I quote, "I'm aware that the additional powers proposal is a strong proposal to make, but I think there has been some, perhaps incorrect representation of precisely what it is I have suggested," end of quote, by Rankin. He also suggested that some of the concerns shared by lawmakers were ridiculous. Rankin said, and I quote, "Some people have suggested that the proposed additional powers are somewhat or another a take over of the democratic system. That is not true. I've even seen a suggestion that the additional powers were designated to force through same-sex marriage in the territory," end of quote, by Rankin. And he goes on to say again, well, actually, what I propose additional powers for is for the Commission of Inquiry implementation. And whatever your views on same-sex marriage may be, that's not one of the Commission of Inquiry's recommendations. So those people that have suggested that are way off beat in terms of what is being proposed. End of quote. Rankin said that the proposal to seek additional powers was not made to accomplish anything that the government has not already promised, yet failed to deliver. Concerning additional powers for the introduction of legislation, the governor said he did not suggest that the House of Assembly should not pass legislation into law, and argued that his move would help overcome blockages in getting legislation to the House where bills can be debated and considered by lawmakers. He reminded persons that the Commission of Inquiry found evidence of poor governance, misuse of public funds, assistance grants being misused in their distribution, lawmakers not registering their interests, and over 2/3 of all major contracts not being openly tendered.
See, that's all I needed to read. That is all. Listen, I just think
That really gives us a summary of what's going on.
What is going on exactly. So once I skimmed through that, and then I said, "Ooh, this is some juicy stuff right here," because whatever was going on, they got to the investigation and they found what they found, and it's sad that greed and I don't know what else would force our leaders to end up in situations that include jail time. It's not worth it. It is not worth it because they seize all your monies, they seize all your assets. So it's like you're getting nothing in the end unless you were hiding the money somewhere else where they can't find it. Because you're going to lose. And again, you're losing your dignity behind it. Although sometimes people forgive and hopefully they forget. But you're losing your dignity in the process.
So what it seems to me, they would have their own powers. Even though they're British overseas territory, they still have they would still have, the constitution that governs them and gives the governor certain powers. So it seems to me that there seem to have been suggestion by the Commission of Inquiry to give the governor further powers that is not right now bestowed upon him in order to conduct matters, I guess, independently.
But didn't he say he was forced basically because they basically sent a message that says you have to do this now because this is what's doing. And the fact that he's saying that promises have not been produced, basically. That's how I'm going to sum it up. So Governor Rankin, don't get me, but, but maybe the governors aren't doing, well, not the governors, the premiers aren't doing what they promise the people.
That is what I'm getting from what I've read, that it seems as though there seem to be allegations of what seem to be corruption or not following through on what they have said they're going to deliver. And it seems as though, because, based on the fact that, the UK has that power, and based on his appointment, the UK would have that power to appoint. And so it's almost like an outsider coming in and looking towards what's going on and say, hey, guys, what is going on here?
What's happening?
And so, and again, they're British territory. But of course, they have the constitution that provides the mechanisms in which they govern. Yes. And we are seeing that Governor Rankin's time has come to an end, and there's going to be a new governor. Not without
some blows, though.
Yeah, a new governor.
Because it's like the outgoing is not as smooth as it could have. The transition is not as smooth.
But I think what is significant is that in this article it says that the governor of the British Overseas Territory, John Rankin, has suggested that his hand was forced.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Additional powers for his office from United Kingdom.
I just told you that part.
Yeah. So I just want to reinforce it because I think that you understand that the Constitution will provide for the United Kingdom to put the governor there.
To meddle. They have a right to meddle then.
You see?
You don't want to say that?
I don't think meddle. I think oversee. If you are British territory, then
I have a right to be in your business. If I was your mother, I have a right to be in your business.
But if you're a territory, you're not a sovereign state in the sense like you're saying it's a Nevis, where it is that you are a sovereign state, you're independent. You are still much a territory of Britain.
Yeah, but I still have a right to be in your business. You belong to me. You will represent me as best as you can. You will not have corruption over there because I don't stand for corruption where you are. And that's all they're saying. So they still have a hand in the business.
Wait till you say. They do have a hand. But
okay, I don't know how else to say it as that. I was just using the local term.
But they have a right based on the Constitution.
The governor.
Well, the governor has powers, and I guess what was happening here, or what is happening here, is the suggestion and recommendations to extend the powers that he has. So further, I would have to see what current powers
maybe
the governor.
He was taking it a bit light with them. This is just me saying Azard is not saying anything. Don't come first, please. We're just
what I'm saying, we'll have to look at the powers of the governor under the Constitution and what powers the governor currently has, and compare that to what is being suggested, and therefore we could have a discussion as to whether or not there is some meddling having looked at the constitution of the BVI and having seen the powers afforded to the governor. So as far that I don't want to speculate, I just want to go based on what the articles are saying, provided that I have not read the constitution of the BVI, which would give directly the powers of the governor, and I have not seen the document before me that has suggested what the additional powers should be.
Because the fact that we still have a governor general, right? We don't have a governor, but we have a governor general. Don't you think the UK still have a little say in what we do here, although we are independent?
In terms of appointment, but when one looks at the role of the governor general and the powers of the governor general, one could say that the prime minister, the office of the prime minister, not the individual, I'm talking about the office and the powers afforded in that office, still is a very powerful position. Still, to me, exercising more powers than the governor general. Much of the governor general's powers are, ceremonial, also to assent to bills to make them acts of parliament, his or her signature. And so, in state of emergency, the governor general has certain powers.
Yes.
And so when one looks at when the governor general really acts, for most of the parts, it is the prime minister. Even if we look at the monarch structure that is in Britain, they do have meetings with the monarch, but at the end of the day, the prime minister, and it's all ceremonial, the prime minister still wields much more power.
But they're still meddling in our business, though.
Who's our? Because
all of us that are Commonwealth,
you think so? I don't.
Yes.
How so?
Because they have a hand.
How?
They set out the rules and we have to follow.
What rules did they say that we have to follow?
Everything.
No, we have a constitution that determines how we govern our country.
Let me see if I can pinpoint one rule that we have to follow. One rule. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me think about it.
We are very much a sovereign state.
We are, but when the fact that England is in charge of the Commonwealth, when they say
ceremonious figurehead.
All right. Because I'm sure if they decide that we need to get a visa to go, we have to follow, right?
Because that's their territory and they have the right to
protect
their borders.
I think because they still have a little say in what we do over here, that's why we have our privilege.
Many countries have the same privileges.
Yeah, because they still have a say.
But what say do they have?
Why do we have a governor general then? If
we could always remove that said, and we could always become a republic like Barbados.
Exactly. So until we're a republic,
it's for us to do it.
They have a say in what they have some say in what we do.
Well, in terms of the appointment of the governor general is basically made on the recommendation of the prime minister and members of the cabinet, practically speaking.
But why you're missing the point? Why is the governor general needed if we're independent?
And I'm saying our constitution provides for the figurehead of the governor general. And
yes, but it speaks to the essential absurdity of post-colonialism. Because if we're independent, why do they want to have somebody representing them?
And I do get.
And why do we want someone from our former oppressors?
Well, let me tell you something, Jamster.
Who purports to represent
and you
them?
Made that point.
Our
and you
former
made that point.
oppressor.
But you know who can change it?
What?
Your prime minister.
We can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why haven't we?
But I do know why haven't we. Stop it.
No, but tell me.
You being the only one with a legal brain here.
Mishi, use 3.
No.
Easy, let her use 3. Mishi.
Use 3.
What do we have to be a real sovereign country and have a competitive advantage in the real world? Azard, stop it. You know why we have to stay how we are. We might be sovereign, but we're not self-reliant.
No.
Could we compete and be like Jamaica?
I'm not
Could we compete and be like Trinidad when we take away the Queen?
But
and step out of the community.
Barbados has become a republic.
Look at their economy. Stop it.
Dominica has become a republic.
Stop it.
What benefits do we have?
What are we going to export?
What benefits
the cannon them from Brimstone Hill?
Let me ask you a question. What?
No, I asked
No,
you.
but
Go ahead.
But those are seem to
We
me to be
need the
rhetorical
community.
questions.
We need the community, Azard. We're not self-reliant.
But listen, what would replacing the Queen with a president, so to speak, here,
And having your own dollar.
and having but we have
And wait it gonna carry.
no, but we've had our own dollar. We have the Eastern Caribbean
done
currency
it now.
that is among the Eastern Caribbean states.
Yeah, but
That-
look
that-
at
But wait,
look
that
at
has not-
Jamaica.
that has-
Look
If
at
we become a
Jamaica and
republic,
look
we
at
have to get our
Trinidad.
own St. Kitts
No, I
money,
think these are
don't we?
the misconception. Dominica
No,
is
not
a
necessarily,
republic.
no.
Dominica is a
So we
republic.
can keep the EC with everybody if
Yeah.
we become a republic.
Yes, guys.
Dominica.
Yeah, but-
Which Dominica? Little Dominica?
Dominica is a
No, but
republic.
Is a republic.
Dominica is a republic,
When?
but
I didn't
have
know
you
that.
ever? No offense to the Dominicans out there, don't come for me. But if you do, that's okay. No offense. I mean, like, really, no offense. But like, have you been to Dominica?
I have.
Have you seen the standard of living comparatively for these countries that you are speaking to?
No,
But
but
it's not
listen.
about that though. It's about
But-
It's about what?
It's about
It is self-identity and
your sense
everything.
of self.
I get what Jamsa is saying, but also what I'm saying, it's all ceremonious as we have. We do have a governor general. Yes, listen to me. Let me make the point. We have a governor general that is the Queen's representative or the King's representative. What real powers do the governor general have? We see what they have in the Constitution, but practically speaking, the Prime Minister wields a lot of power.
It does.
Also, we having making St. Nevis a republic does not mean that we have to get our own dollar,
Okay.
because we still share the Eastern Caribbean dollar with states like Dominica, that's a republic. Trinidad and Tobago is a republic. Jamaica is a republic. And sorry, not Jamaica in a republic. Jamaica is making steps to become a republic.
Yeah, Guyana is a republic
yes.
too.
But what I'm saying, look at these countries who.
And let me, but before you go on,
want
before
to
you
make
go
all
on,
the point, them go
before
ahead,
you
we're
go
gonna
on,
listen to you.
before you go on, Jamaica is not a republic, but Jamaica has its own dollar. So becoming a republic doesn't mean that you necessarily
Azard,
have to have
stop
your own
it.
dollar. So let's not equate those.
Azard, they have a lot
Well,
of
let's not get
things
stuck
to
on the
be
currency thing.
self-reliant.
Let me ask.
Not just the currency. They have a lot of things
what I'm saying,
to
man.
become self-reliant and to forge identity.
But the misconception that I'm seeing here is that if we become a republic, it's going to change everything. Like we no longer, like
Who's bringing that misconception to you?
Because you're saying they are self-reliant.
Don't say I'm bringing that misconception
What?
to you.
But-
I am
but
saying
listen.
St. Kitts is not sufficiently self-reliant. When you've got newspaper,
Yes, but
But listen,
The
what
Stockholm
would
syn-
becoming
the
a
Stockholm
republic
syndrome is
take
real,
away
man.
from us? What would becoming a republic take away from us,
Azard,
Michelina?
becoming a republic signals an idea and a practice of self-reliance that we do not have. Let the Dominica boat stop, come see we in trouble.
But
We
let's-
don't have a
No,
newspaper.
but let's start with sovereignty first.
But
We
are
can't be fully
independent states now.
self-reliant. We need
without
milk. We
the
buy
Dominica
milk.
boat,
We can
we're
buy-
in trouble.
But
All
what
the
does that have to
sovereignty.
do? What
I
does
don't
that have
agree
to
with
do with
that.
the king or the queen?
It goes to sovereignty, self-reliance, self-governance. The things that we need to be working on is making St. Kitts self-reliance in our present condition, and then talk about the ceremonies and take
Yes,
it down
but-
first. The country needs a whole lot of developing
but
before we go out there.
Self-reliance is a process. It's
But we're
aspirational.
creating-
So we have to. After we become
I don't
independent,
agree,
we
Jamster.
we
Done
start
with it.
evolving the
Done with it.
the systems
how about
to get
we see
towards ever
we
greater
want to become
self-reliance.
self-reliant, and then we do sustainable,
There-
real things.
There is some fear.
Like develop the agricultural sector so
there
that
is-
if the
there
is
Dominica
that the
boat
phone?
don't come,
Rusty is
we be
calling.
eating.
Rusty
We
is
be
calling.
how about
One big fight we
fix
have here.
us.
This one.
Michelina, becoming a republic doesn't take away our opportunity to fix those things that we need to fix. Becoming a republic does not, in my sense, take away anything from us that we.
It just talks to pomp and circumstance. To make a country self-reliant and really sovereign, you need to work on the things the country needs,
and
not just the title. Done with it. Fix the real problem.
Okay, we could fix those real problems, and we could fight towards becoming a republic.
But if we ain't fixing the real problem, what you want to add more for?
What the other problem
Azard, we
would
don't
be,
have a newspaper. You notice that?
But what would a republic?
You understand?
What happened to
We
the
don't
newspaper?
even produce a newspaper.
What would
We don't have a library. Azard, done with it.
So what would becoming a republic take away from us?
We do not have a library.
And so we could
Azard,
work
why
on
we
the
don't-
library.
Why we
and
don't
we could become
advocate for the library?
republic.
Why we don't advocate for the library?
Hi, Rusty. Rusty, good morning. Thank you for calling, Rusty.
We don't even know which side of the fence Wesley is on.
Good morning to all.
Good night, Rusty.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I must say this first. There is a book that is called Making of a National Hero. I think you all should buy a copy of that book and read it.
I already have a copy of that book, Rusty.
Okay, well,
That's
well
the
y'all should
Pambo?
read it properly.
That is the National
Okay.
Heroes book. A book by the national
Okay.
hero.
Okay.
That's
Great.
the PAM book. That's
Great.
not the PAM book.
Great. So encourage everybody in your team to buy the book and read it. Let me get to the point now. I'm going to agree with that. The problem we have is not that we're not sustainable or we can't sustain ourselves. I agree with Marquisia.
No, Michelina.
Is that we don't have library and we don't have certain
But
stuff.
those two issues
But
don't relate.
Those
They
things we should have
do.
long time. We don't have newspapers. All news when they came home in
They
2022
do.
for election,
relate, miss.
no newspapers were there.
Wait,
How
wait.
you
Oh,
gonna
yeah, let
have
me
all
hear
those
Rusty.
things?
Wait. Let me hear Rusty, all you. Let me hear Rusty.
Sorry, Rusty.
Go ahead, Rusty.
All those things can be fixed.
Let me sip my tea here. Let me choke my tea.
All those things that my friend mentioned can
Michelina.
be fixed. So that's not a problem. The reason why we have a governor is because we are a commonwealth system.
And their benefits
If
to
we're
being
not
a
in,
part of
if
that.
we're not in the commonwealth, which some people are trying to go, I don't agree with us
What-
moving away from the commonwealth.
Wesley, before you go with
And
that,
the-
right? There's a misconception because republic countries do still form part of the Commonwealth. If I'm going to look for countries that form part of the Commonwealth, and I'm very sure that Trinidad and Tobago and those others do form part of the Commonwealth. That is why I'm asking the question: what real disadvantage do we get from becoming a republic?
I say instead of working on those very highfalutin, convoluted, ceremonious things, if you want to build identity in a country, build the things that create and foster identity and national idea and national thought. We have a whole country, a whole St. Kitts and Nevis, and we don't have a library. You know what that says about us as a people? We do not have a library. Well, we have a library, but not a functioning real library.
It's not
Sorry,
a library. So
librarian.
it's a room with a books on the shelf.
Librarians
it's not a
So
library.
for those-
library
It's a
staff,
room with a books on the
please
shelf.
forgive
it's,
me.
It's
but
a book repository. That's what it is.
But we don't have a space where I can go and borrow a book that is current. We don't have a space where I can engage information.
They are friends of mine, and Michelina is dead on. They are friends of mine who
How
have
you
said
gonna
this.
have national identity
But
if you don't
guys-
have the
Michi-
basic tenants?
It's also terrible that we don't have a bookstore in the whole country. That says a lot.
Reminds me. Before you go, right?
Thank
We
you,
are talking about.
Jam.
Let's
Thank you
let's
for
stay
that.
on the point,
We
guys.
don't have anything. We don't have a television station.
wait,
You're
guys.
talking about stuff
Guys.
that
What happened to
don't have.
ZIZ?
We do not have a television station.
Rusty, you
We don't
forget.
People, professional people can talk about politics like y'all are doing right now.
I almost
we don't
feel
have
like
any professional
I
people
almost feel like
speaking
not
any-
having a bookstore and a library is even more alarming
Hello,
than the
exactly.
TV
As a
station
country,
somehow.
you have so much PhDs
Well, you can
in
say that,
St.
but
Kitts,
there are a
and
lot of
you
people
can't
who
go
think-
and read the thesis nowhere, so
And
everybody
a lot of
could
these things
come
can't
and say
read.
there is
You
a
probably wouldn't
PhD.
believe that. We like to boast the fact that we're 90% literate or whatever.
Ain't the
number.
truth
That
as
is
a
not
teacher.
true.
Ain't the truth.
Oh, boy.
Ain't the truth.
So let me dispel the misconception. Not because you're a republic mean that you don't form part of the Commonwealth. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And before we go on to that,
But why do we have to be part of the Commonwealth? This is the other thing.
well, listen, guys. I'm saying,
It's a
improving
confederation of
our
Stockholm
self-identity,
syndrome sufferers.
improving our making ourselves self-reliant has nothing to do to
making
me.
ourselves. We do not have a Kittitian identity that we can speak to Azard.
And so let's help create one.
Exactly,
And let's
and
create
that is
one
all
by
I'm saying.
By adding to becoming a
It can't be
republic.
that Azard is like a man meet me in the road and he said I want to marry you, but he ain't on a bank book, he ain't on a walk, he ain't on a nut. Where you want to marry me for? Go fix your life.
To all you could get married and
No,
all
man,
work
about
together,
that. Go
all
and
work
fix your
together
life.
and build
Go and
that
fix
bank
Rusty.
account.
Go fix your life.
Hello, I can
So let me
hardly hear
say-
you guys.
let me say
There's
this
a
too,
lot
right?
of talking.
Let me say
There's
this,
a lot of
right?
talking.
This argument
There is a lot
reminds
of
me.
talking.
This
I can't
argument
hear
reminds
anybody.
me of persons who say, "Why is the police checking for tint? They should be looking for criminals." We should be doing all of them. They should be looking out for every aspect of every person who contravenes the law. It's like saying, "Oh, when you see the police going on there, you say, why they bodying people for tint? They should be looking to see those persons who kill people." To me, it
You ever see a
reminds me
tin
of
kill
this.
anybody?
This
A tin never kill
argument-
nobody.
If they can see
argument
through the
reminds me
tint
of this.
machine accident.
But I get what you're saying, but my scope on it is that I'm big in community. We make it by our community. Nobody that goes far goes alone. So I'm all about Caribbean community, and I think the Queen, us together, yes, it's a horrible past.
Well, the king now.
The king, yeah, Lord. See, I still saying the queen. That's when you know you have impact. But for me, in order for St. Kitts to be a real place, a competitive place, to have an identity, there are like basic things. The community, as I lay your talk and you ask me to lay you make a point
Okay, I'm
1,000
going
times.
to sip my tea and
You
then
do
afterwards
that.
I'm going to ask
You
you a
do that.
question. So be prepared for my question. I'm going to sip my
We
tea.
need to develop the identity by developing the components that are necessary for identity. Even something as there are so many persons who say they are PhDs, they have doctorates, they have contributed to knowledge in a particular way, right? We can't read their thesis. I don't know if
Where are these theses supposed to be?
I don't know if the people I'm in high places making political decisions went go study stone. But I'm calling them doctors,
She makes a good point.
so.
The U.S. is the Library of Congress. There's no reason why
Oh, okay.
our government can't make a
No,
concerted
I was
effort
just, I
to
was
make
just asking
sure
where are these
that
theses?
those
And
types of
this is what
things are available in the
identity is.
library.
You are
Exactly.
contributing to knowledge.
I am not against
No,
creating an
no.
identity, but I am not. What I'm saying is that becoming a republic helps to booster that identity that you speak of,
As
not
we
take
can't
away from
afford
it.
it.
Oh my gosh.
What real benefit do
Let
we
the
get?
Dominica boat stop come.
Let me ask
Let
you.
the container them stop bring your grape.
But Michelina, at the same time, becoming a republic, the boats are gonna still run. They're gonna still bring we grape
My
them.
key-
And so what we are when we are a republic.
Michelina Rusty.
Go ahead,
Michelina.
Go ahead, Rusty, on the phone now. Rusty.
I try to make one more point.
Go ahead,
before I
go
have
ahead.
to leave.
Lord, Rusty.
You
You
could
guys are
see, you
so
could see
loud.
this is
Rusty
a
on
place
the
of
panel.
passion.
Go ahead.
I don't want to make. I'm agreeing with my friend. I can't remember her name, but I'm agreeing with my
Michelina.
new friend that we need these things, but we don't have to have them before we go to removing from the.
That's
the
all I'm saying here.
Yes,
Commonwealth.
because then
We
what we
don't
gonna be? What St. Kitts
and
gonna
if you
be?
believe we had
The
to,
Republic
we had
of
money.
St.
We
What
had
you gonna
billions of
mean?
dollars in our treasury.
What would it
Instead we
mean
gave
to
the
be
away to
Kittitian?
Christmas.
If you don't work on the meaning, if you
Okay,
don't
yeah.
substantiate the meaning, what you gonna mean?
You know, every time you go into the courthouse or you take an oath, you take an oath to to His Majesty.
Wow.
You understand?
But what does St. Kitts
Yeah.
and Nevis mean? What
What's
does it mean? We have not created consensus around a meaning. I know what it is to be
when you
Trini.
talk
I know
about-
what it is to be Jamaican. But what does it mean to be Kittitian? And I am a Kittitian. When we say St. Kitts, what do we mean? What is the signal? This thing we gonna work on.
So you know what it means to be a
to the bone.
Trinidad and Tobago is a republic, and you know what it
But
means.
they
to be
have
a Trini.
substance.
So
They
we ain't got no
have-
substance.
What it be as that? Tell me why it be.
We are Kittitian
But
division.
tell me why it be.
And becoming a republic.
Tell me what
could-
the substance of being a Kittitian is. When we have a word in the dictionary, we will have a meaning. Tell me what I mean. because nobody work on it.
Tell me what benefits we have.
You ain't
currently
answering the
by
question,
being
lawyer.
Under
Lawyer, you're not
system.
answering the
Talking to the
question.
mic.
You are lawyer, you ain't answering the question, and you is one of the brightest and the best among us. Your practice is intellectualism is a simple question. What does it mean to be Kittitian and division? What is the signal? When you say Guyana, it signals a thing. It signals rivers and this and that and indigenous people. What does it mean to be Kittitian? Done with the nonsense, man. We have real work to do.
Let me answer the question then. What does it mean to be Kittitian and division?
You can't do that, Azard. You ain't answer the question and you want me answer it?
Oh boy.
First and
Ooh.
foremost, to be Kittitian and division, it means that you were either born here, you receive your nationality, or through descent.
Kortensia, what does it mean to be Guyanese?
What does it mean to be
When you say
Guyanese?
Guyanese, I see those waterfalls and the indigenous people and the log and the culture and the multiculturalism and the multilinguist and tell me, what does it mean? And the pepper pot, tell me.
But to me, you're giving
First-
all the answers.
No.
Them.
She,
You know
no,
more than you know
I
more
always
about
say,
it than saying
Azard, I always say I come from plenty and enough culture because I eat a variety of things because Ghana have 6 different races. As Michelina says, we have the kaichor. We now have oil. I can identify with being part of the indigenous people because of my dad and my mom. My sister, my younger sister, has the features of a Carib. So there's a lots of things I can, as Michi say, our food, the pepper pot. I go anywhere, I catch a guy in this place. I'm happy to see it because I can get roti. I long to taste the same taste from home. So there's so much I can associate
Let me
with.
ask you, so don't you think by removing a figurehead from Britain would assist in creating this identity that you claim to say that we currently don't have?
So what identity do Kittitians have? Let
Right
me
now.
ask that question. What identity is there?
They paid me to answer.
Let each of us think of an iconic Kittitian division thing. Let's try, for
Okay.
real. Because we're just, I mean,
I
because
could think
she's
of-
actually like 10 times and you haven't come up with one thing.
No.
And me, I might have trouble, but let's try.
Okay.
You go
sure.
first,
I
Easy.
think about our food. That's one thing I think about when it comes to Kittitians and division. I think about our goat water, our black pudding. I think about
Is goat water synonymous to St. Kitts?
Exactly.
Well, they say
In
it's,
Guyana, you
they say
even
it's
have white
Montserrat.
pudding.
They say it's Montserrat, but I don't
It's
know.
not.
But I
We
think
don't.
ours is,
Because Jamaica call it Manish water.
yeah.
And
We
it's made the
don't.
same way.
But they use goat,
Michelina,
it's a goat
we
head,
say
goat's
goat
head they
water.
use.
In Jamaica, they say manish water. And in Guyana, what do they say?
No, we don't have goat water.
No, but what
Okay.
I'm saying is that
And the way
it's
it
a
is-
similar
the way-
dish. It
the
is
way
not a
it in-
signal.
The way in which it's prepared is different. And preparation of the dish is uniquely Kittitian.
Okay,
Ackee
goat
and
water.
saltfish.
Okay.
Ackee and saltfish is Jamaican. Nobody else is doing it like
Saltfish
them.
Okay,
and
Mishi.
dumpling, saltfish and Johnny cake is Kittitian division.
Kittitian, okay.
Me can't manage
I
you know.
kinda feel
Azard
now.
for prime minister.
kinda
you
feel.
hear me? We identify country.
So, Mishi, you go. Cause okay, I'll take the goat water.
You taking goat water?
Yeah,
Okay.
but-
You could take the black pudding too.
Oh, black pudding all over the world.
I just want to say that
Well,
this is a
actually,
demonstration
Preparation
of
of
why
the food.
we need
Preparation of the
to
food.
develop the substance of what it is to be Kittitian.
Preparation of the food. The way in which we prepare our meals are totally different from
Other
other
places.
persons and other places.
I said Brimstone Hill. It was supposed to be food.
Hello,
anything.
I
Yeah,
was
except
going,
brimstone
and I
here.
said the cannon and brimstone
Oh
here.
Lord,
I
Michelle.
want to claim the Carrot Rock joints in Old Road.
Oh,
I want to claim.
I just want y'all to know, as a humanitarian, I graduate of the University of the West Indies.
Someone said
this-
Pigfoot.
This conversation
Bigfoot?
is
But-
absolutely the substance of why we don't need to study about removing the queen head, but study about developing
And they say we
the
could do both.
essence.
And I could say by doing
Of the
one,
country?
we push forward for the other.
Because when you hear Brimstone Hill, everybody knows that belongs to St. Kitts.
It doesn't belong to St. Kitts. It's a relic of the past colonial times.
No.
That's-
Oh, okay,
that-
okay.
that's-
Michi,
trying
that's
to
a
get
fair
rid
point.
of.
okay.
The
It is
same
that.
thing.
It is that. But
You know,
it
she's
is
right.
synonymous with
The
St.
same
Kitts.
thing.
Yeah, but it's
you know,
synonymous.
she's right because, like, for
But
example,
it's still
I
part of our
always
history.
no, Izzy, listen. Here,
Well, who
here
built
this-
Brimstone
Anyways,
Hill?
But here this, here this analogy which supports your point.
Who built
I
Brimstone Hill?
always feel when people carry on about Alexander Hamilton, I said, oh, okay. Yeah, he started the Department of Treasury in the U.S., but he's
This
from
was
Nevis.
certainly
But it's
not
a
a
white
topic
dude
this
who's
morning.
basically the son of a planter or whatever. I said, why? To me, that's like kind of a dubious claim to fame, because a black guy was not going to allow to be, was not, a black division was not going to be it was not going to be even allowed
But
to have anything to do with that country's finance.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of thing. So Michi has a point.
no, but
Brimstone Hill, yeah, it's us, it's ours now, but it was
no,
it was built by us under duress.
We only have it. It was built by slave labor,
Yes.
Azard,
which is us.
and the own.
Yes,
Jesus,
but
fix it. You know what's a slave? A slave. The word slavery.
Our ancestors.
Azard,
built
I
it,
find you
Michelina.
interrupting me. The word slave, you should go and look up what the word slave mean and what the concept of slavery mean. Okay? The only reason we have it still is because they couldn't put it on their boat and carry it back. If they could have put it on their boat and carry it back, it would not have been here.
It forms part of our identity. It forms part of our history. Whether it is a good part of our history or a bad part, history is history, and it
And
forms
that
part
and
of
that
our
is that is
identity.
what to celebrate. Brimstone Hill. Slave people built this thing. They worked it. They were not seen as human beings. It was occupied by the oppressors and the colonizers. It was used as their war base. Woo, sink it. Clap, clap, clap. $2 USD.
What does that have to do? And the
Easy,
argument
she has a
that-
point,
no,
though.
No, you keep saying she has a point,
But
but
she
not
does.
linking it to what I'm saying. You said all of that, and becoming a republic would be fuel for that kind of thinking to flourish, in the sense that our ancestors built Brimstone Hill. You're saying that we should not boast of it because it was under slavery. I'm saying that whether good or bad is part of our history, is part of our identity. And I'm saying in enhancing our identity and creating the identity that we want as Kittitians and Division, holding on to a monarch system where it is that our head of state is a representative of England does no justice. That is what I'm saying.
And also, Mamishi, the thing is, the thing about sovereignty is that he gives us a starting point. Our starting point was, let's say 1983, where we ideally try to work towards self-sufficiency and building our and improving our self-reliance. So we have to start somewhere, because we're starting behind the 8 ball. I mean,
I don't think we're starting behind of the 8 ball. I think we have a very pretentious society, a very untrue society.
that is true.
There is no way you could be asking for these high things when the real things
There
are
are simple
not.
things that could be done.
Azad, you interrupted me and I listened to you. The real things are not in place, and you cannot minimize the things that need to be in place and in play for identity and call them simple. We are a country of 40 years old. 40. And nobody sees it fit or alarming that we don't have a library,
You said
a functioning library, Azad.
Yes, and both of them don't need to compete with each other. We could do both of them.
It's not about a competition. It's about priority and principle. You are having this conversation now, right? But 40 years and we don't have a library. So where is the aspiring lawyer supposed to go to read precedents and cases?
And
Where are they supposed
and
to
actually,
go?
Mishi, I don't know if you were here. You remember when Rusty called, and Rusty pointed out another thing about the whole library, the institution of a library. It's not. We're not. Listen. No. Wait. Listen. We do not, as a people, have a sense of history.
Okay, so
Rusty, and this is something I had talked about.
until we build
No,
a
wait.
functioning
No.
library,
Wait.
we should not have discussion
No,
about
that's
becoming
not
a
what we're
republic.
saying. What we're saying is a society, any society that takes itself seriously would have a sense of history, would have a sense of preserving things for posterity. You should be able to go to the library and see newspapers from 10 years ago, 20 years ago on microfiche. Rusty mentioned it.
Yeah, but Gamsa,
All those kinds of things.
Gamsa, I'm not even going against that point. I'm agreeing
Preserving
with those
our
points.
history and our preserving our history for posterity.
You see, this is why I don't have
So
discussions
the
with multiple people.
the
You want me to tell you why?
library concept.
Because at times we lose focus of the foundation of the discussion. The foundation of the discussion, based on my understanding, is we spoke about the head of state. We spoke about governor general versus a president. That is your own and everything, and swaying allegiance to your country as opposed to swaying allegiance to the monarch. Now we gone on to preservation of culture, which I don't have a problem in supporting. We do need to preserve our culture. I am saying that a fight towards self-identity, self-reliance, and self can be coupled with the fight to become republic.
Yeah,
Did you listen?
That's what I was saying.
Okay, so we're not disagreeing then.
No,
but
we're
wait,
not.
but wait. Did you see the ceremony in Barbados when they became a republic? Did you see the
Yeah, I watched
pride,
it. I watched it live.
the patriotism? Did you feel that you felt it through your screens? The self-identity in which
They
we
also
speak
have
of.
a library. They have a University of the West Indies.
Indies.
No, but it's what he's saying is it's very superficial. In order for you to have an identity, there must be consensus. There must be a building of the components that is necessary to substantiate what it means to be Kittitian, and we are neglectful of that.
Somebody in the US said what it means to be Kittitian, to be rich in culture, Caribbean African, to be fighters of rights of the people, the Buckley's riot that spread throughout the region.
Carib and African. I don't understand that.
Exactly.
The Caribs,
Because the Caribs that they murder.
yeah, the Caribs were here before us jam star.
Yeah, so
No, but that person. I'm not negating that point, but I'm just like
We
to
have
be Kittitian is Caribbean
we
African.
have to recognize the
don't
What
really-
indigenous
I
people that
am
once lived
saying,
here.
what I'm saying, right? When I go to the libraries in Trinidad and I can read what Eric Williams says, and I can read that Naipaul says nothing outside of Trinidad is calypso because it was an art form that was developed there. When I can read what David Rudder said and read what Chalkner said, when I can when I can read the ideas and the icons that contributed to what the term Trinidad and Tobagonian culture is. And they have that to pass on as a legacy.
so
But we don't have that. We don't do that. Every year we have a carnival and it's a theater. But it's a mashed down theater, like those what you call it? Coney Island? There's no custody, there's no responsibility to pass that on, to archive that, to put it somewhere so that the generation after has something to experiment from, to pivot from. So we're looking like everybody else but ourselves because we don't have a self, we're not building it.
But who is disagreeing with you on that point? All I'm saying, your point could be supplemented with
What
the
I'm
fight to
saying is
become
that what
republic.
you are recommending is another instance of doing something else fancy.
What I'm recommending is a change.
Instead of doing the work that we need to do. We need to not need a Dominican boat when we name Liamiga and we have so much fertile soil.
But regardless of the fact whether we're a republic or we're still under the king, the boat could still come.
The boat don't need to come. That is a problem, Azard.
And okay, so
We are Caribbean territory
The boat
and we
come-
can't feed we sell. That is a problem.
okay, but the boat coming does not add or take away from the
Dominica boat,
discussion
please
when
don't
it
stop
comes
come,
to
okay?
becoming a republic. we are already an independent territory.
Stop it. We're
Sovereign.
independent.
We are independent.
We're independent, Azard.
But Michelina, in the sense
We're
that
independent on paper, but let everybody stop come. Let everybody stop come for a week. You see how we cripple down,
But that's-
boil down like Baji.
that's almost every country, Michelina, that is even independent.
It's almost every country, but if the boats don't come to Jamaica for a month, right? They could feed themselves. You understand? We can't do the fundamental on the hierarchy of needs. We can't feed ourselves.
And
she's
I-
correct.
But we're not disagreeing on the fact that we need to feed ourselves, but what does it have to do in the grand scheme?
We don't even eat Kittitian food. Like the sweet potato ain't even from Kittitian dot Azard. And you want to take down the name? How about we make sweet potato and Kittitian dot?
Okay, so they need to do nothing else.
They're having a drought, right?
We need not to focus on legislation. We need not to focus on improving our constitution. We need not to focus on any other legal framework until we become self-sufficient and self-reliant.
And with that, we'll take a KFC break. No,
oh,
3 minutes after that. Let's take a quick break and come back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
You can win more with the Mega Ball. Pick 3 and pick 4, you could get it all.
Yes, playing Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery just got more rewarding. For just an extra $1, increase your winnings by $1,000 with Pick 3 and $10,000 with Pick 4 when you play the Mega Ball.
You ready to win a little extra? You ready to win a little extra? You ready to win a little extra? Then get on the ball.
Play Pick 3 and Pick 4 with Mega Ball at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over to play.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Watch the trail of the insect stop when you spread them with pop. Flying, crawling, insects are falling when you spread them with pop. Nothing comes close to pop. Pop, the number one brand. Serious, get pop.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. If you truly think that Island Tea is the most popular talk show, morning show in St. Kitts Nevis, well, come on, advertise with us, right? Put your money where your mouth is, or where your ears are, maybe I should say, right?
So you probably
what?
You're probably chasing off more than
No,
we're getting by saying that.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
Because what I'm saying is, St. Kitts is the only place where people, oh, you have such a great show. Then why aren't you advertising?
Oh boy.
Yeah, but if they want to, they would. Let's keep it.
Somebody
very
agree with
strange
Michi
to me.
right here, you know.
No, but wait, before you even read that point, let me say this, because I think persons are losing what I'm saying. I'm not saying
You're just
that.
losing the argument.
You do
No.
know today's
Saying.
Friday, right?
No.
We don't want this heavy stuff.
Listen to what I'm saying, please.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying that becoming a republic alone creates that Kittitian division identity that we need. I am saying that on the road to becoming a republic, it helps to enhance, it helps to give us that same thought about Kittitian division identity. Look at it this morning. We spoke about becoming a republic. And after speaking about becoming a republic, this whole conversation about Kittitian and division identity came about. And so, on the road to becoming a republic, it would create more conversations like these about Kittitian division identity. And on that note, I will, as lawyers tend to write, cease and desist.
And how we build
speaking on this matter.
Thank you for your contribution, Azard.
Oh boy.
I'm happy that you had this space and the time. For me, I continue and I maintain going through the legal framework and all of those things are important. It has its place, but it's not substantive. When you build culture, and culture has 5 definitions, when you build the agricultural center and sectors so that our sweet potato come from Kitish and dirt, when you build the textile industry, the creative economy with a Kittian identity, when we foster not just carnival as a product, but as a process to identity, we can nurture the Peter Minshall in St. Kitts. We can provide opportunities for the Peter Minshall, for the Pat Bishop. We are not doing the things that are substantive in creating identity, and no amount of legal framework, pomp and circumstance and high paper and high sit down and high rooms is going to create identity or going to sustain identity unless we do the work from the ground up with community that is necessary. Look at how much things we have on the books that are not action. I am sure you can come and bring to mind at least 100 things that are in our legal framework from 40 years ago that the common man doesn't know, doesn't understand, and they're not actioned.
Let's take a call. Island T, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Mr. McMahon, please be brief. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try. This is one of those things where both can be right. You know, both Azard and Michelina are right. But right now they're on parallel tracks. The fact is you can have several levels of independence, and the political is just as important as the cultural and identity building stuff that Michelina is talking about. The political, I think, should come first in the sense that I always remember, for instance, when Grenada was invaded, the U.S. used as its pretext where we were invited by the Governor General. Right? That is how important, although we might consider Governor Generals and so on as ceremonial, that is how impactful they can be. And in the fire analysis, the Governor Generals that we have allegiance to the Queen. The King now. Okay? Yes, she's expected to toe the line of the sitting government and the Prime Minister. But if it came down to, if push came to shove, and for instance, to refuse to sign our laws and so on and have them operationalized, legally, they're on good ground. It seems to me, at least, it's on good ground. So we can't dismiss it. It's not just ceremonial.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay, good. Caller, go right ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on.
Yes. Good morning, all, and very interesting conversation. The one about our identity. Fascinating. The point that I want to make here is we have to be very careful about what we say. If we keep telling ourselves and we tell people that we do not have an identity, we are actually reinforcing that negative message. So we have to be very, very careful, right? Not having a library, as important as it is, does not mean that we do not have an identity. We need to delink some of the things that we discuss and deal with them separately, even if eventually we bring them together, we converge the ideas and demonstrate how having A and B and C work together to build our identity. But we cannot say we do not have an identity. That is wrong. And it is a poor message that we are reinforcing in people's minds. It is the equivalent of trying to potty train a child. And every day you tell the child you will never be potty trained. How many times you want me to tell you that this is what you must do? You think that that child will ever get potty trained? Or it will definitely take much longer. So The teaching learning process involves encouraging and supporting and reminding ourselves of what we do have as the foundation on which we build and extend, so that, in the future, we can demonstrate that we have more. So we have to be very, very careful about that message. The other thing about Brimstone Hill, right? Not agree that it's not ours. Brimstone Hill is ours. It was built off of the sweat and tears and backs of our African ancestors. It is for us to invert that narrative now and say, despite the fact that there were slaves, in spite of the way that they were treated, look at the craftsmanship, look at the ideas, look at the creativity, look at the innovation. Brimstone Hill could have never happened. As much as the white man felt that he was very scientifically inclined and things, he could then put into action the ideas that some of these people had on paper. So those are the things to focus on. Everything in life is about perspective. If you tell yourself your glass is half empty, your glass will always remain half empty. You've got to keep telling yourself that your glass is half full. Be positive, be optimistic, look for the good in what we have, right? And I agree with those who spoke about sauce and black pudding and our different dialects, the way we speak and everything. And so all of that is part of our culture that nobody else has. They may have something similar, but they do not have what is uniquely Kittitian and Nivision. And I want to end by sending you all to read a book written by Leonard Stapleton. Of memory. Write it down. The experiences and contributions of the enslaved Africans in St. Kitts. You are not
Miss Morton, we didn't hear the name of the book. Could you please repeat it?
Me?
We didn't hear the name of the book. You got cut out, or there was a connection.
Places of memory. Places of memory.
Okay, thank you.
The experiences and contributions of the enslaved Africans in St. Kitts and Nevis. And while I was the permanent secretary at Ministry of Tourism, we tried to push this book in all of the schools. Our children need to read the stories, the way he looked at the different aspects of what we have in St. Kitts and interpreted them in a very positive way to remind us as a people that we have a solution on which to build. Yes, slavery happened. You cannot erase that slavery happened. How are you going to erase that slavery happened? Cannot happen. And we have to accept that we are composite of all that has happened to us, good and bad. And that is whether you're talking historically, you're talking about the society, you're talking about personally. You can't erase the fact that you had a drunken father, especially if that was the impetus for you to make sure that you ain't going to drink again. You understand? You will never drink because you saw how it ruined your father's life, how it ruined your family life, and so on. And those are the things that we're focusing on and emphasizing, that we make sure that we are so aware of the negative that happened in our lives, either individually or collectively, historically, that we are so aware that we make sure that it won't happen again. Okay, and that's my contribution. I'm hoping that has given us a different way to analyze our history and how we see ourselves even today.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Morton. I really appreciate your contribution. I stand affirm we do not have a culture.
Caller, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I want to completely and vehemently agree with Ms. Morton. Yesterday when I called in, and other times as well, I keep saying that we often use this whole notion of, the colonizers, the planters, or whoever were the ones that did the great houses, Brimstone Hill, etc., etc. Well, they designed it, but then who are the artisans that actually constructed it? And I have to say it again, in spite of, it is a reflection of the abilities and the skills of the ancestors. And going on off of what Ms. Morton said again, weaponize that. Weaponize it. All of the things that we have experienced as a people, this is what we have achieved in spite of. But no, we want to say, the plantocracy and this and that. We don't want to see anything that reflects that. But to Ms. Morton's point again, you can't help if you have a father who's a drunkard, But look at where you are in spite of that. It's the same mentality. Take the negatives and turn them into a positive. Every single situation in life has an opportunity. And we don't take those as a people, in spite of how much we have accomplished and how much we have contributed to the Caribbean fabric. That is my issue as it relates to petitions. We have done so much, yet we do not recognize it. We keep affiliating a lot of it with a negative and forgetting just how much positive there is. Again, Beto Douglas, Marcus of the Woods, and so many other people. I said it yesterday. We celebrate Thomas Warner. Weaponize that, turn him into Lex Luthor, and turn Marcus of the Woods into Superman. Start to change the narrative and make sure that we have the factual information that reflect these people's contributions, and start pushing that as what we are instinctively as Kittitian. There's no excuse not to do it, because the fact of the matter is, yes, every country has their own history and so forth. But when I tell you the richness of the amount of history that St. Kitts has, that has contributed so much to the entire Caribbean. I studied in Jamaica, and I was surprised at just how much New Visions, planters, and persons went over there, all in the 1700s, and then coming back and going to the archives and finding factual information supporting that. We are the trendsetters. And then the whole thing about identity, etc., etc. I agree and I disagree with Michelina in that regard, because I lived in Trinidad as well. And Trinidad and Jamaica, I will admit, they have developed a brand. It is a brand name to be Jamaican or Trinidad. We can't dispute that in any shape or form. However, we have so many things that are intrinsically Kittitian that we don't exalt enough. And when we talked about food and so forth, I had a conversation with the Admiral of the Coast Guard of Trinidad. And he said right out, I've traveled the entire world, and nowhere makes better black pudding than St. Kitts, so all I hush I am out. These are things that we should be proud of. Imagine other people exalting them and we don't. That's my contribution.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your call. And
let it be known that on Calypso Finals night, right? I judged, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a very good friend of mine was visiting from DC.
Yes.
And she had told me earlier in the day that I'm going to bring you some black pudding when you're there. And then I think maybe about a quarter way into the show, I got a package with my black pudding.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my snack before the official snack.
Okay.
3 big chunks of black pudding. So yeah, I'm just letting you guys know.
I really appreciate the contribution of the callers. The perspective, as Ms. Morton said, is very important to have a number of perspectives. As an education practitioner, I stand affirm. We do not have an identity. We are not substantiating. It is not consensus what it means to be Kittitian. You cannot ask the average Kittitian what it is. We have ministries and departments who are working, and that is their job. Twice for the week, I was in the archive. I'm constantly in the archive. I learn education culture. I learn Kittitian culture. Look at this, well, God bless Labour. Look at the state of what we had the St. Kitts National Archives to be. 6 months ago, I couldn't get a paper printed in the National Archives, which is housed in two chunky room. How are you going to tell me you respect identity when the state of not just the library, but the archive was such? with the change of administration, the archive gained some updates, and so, I go across there and I say, well, we can get a printer now. A whole country that is 40 years old, and I have to go to the National Archive and celebrate that we're getting a printer with ink. A printer with ink in the National Archive, and now you want to go for the Queen? Get your house in order and be honest. Until we start to be honest and do honest work, all we doing is nonsensical pomp and circumstance. Twice for the week I was in the archive, I could stand up to a Trinidadian and tell them what it is to be Kittitian when we first school and where it was. Because it is important to me and I do the work. But I'm not going to sit here and be dishonest. We cannot have identity as a value. And less than 6 months ago, our National Archive didn't have a printer. It had no functioning tools. People didn't know where it was. You can't go in a school and ask them where the National Archive is. Principal, teacher, and student. We need to be honest. And until we have honest confrontations with the things that are necessary and do the work, ain't gonna happen. We're gonna forever have nice ceremony where high people get to dress up in nice clothes and applaud themselves.
Good morning, everybody.
So for me, that is it. You can't tell me, a Jamaican can't tell me, the average Kittitian can't tell me to substantiate what Kittitian is. And I deliberately ask that question because I do the work. I know what it is.
I have a contribution to that question because I was listening to it on the radio and I said, you guys are on fire. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can find anywhere in the world a group of people who are afraid of centipedes more than Kittitians.
I'm just going to vote on that.
Before you go on, I think that his contribution is particularly significant because you came to St. Kitts and Nevis after some years.
Yeah, I grew up in Nigeria.
Yeah, so you would see what we can't see for ourselves, the things that we take for granted. So tell us.
Or blind spots.
Yes, tell us.
Okay, the good things I like about St. Kitts, and one of the reasons when people ask me, why are you there? Like, I left the United States. I could have been in the States if I wanted to, but I didn't want to be there. What I've grown to understand that is valuable to me as a professional, as a man, as a musician, as an athlete, in St. Kitts, you can grow at your own pace. And I've said that in different other circles, and they have actually agreed, like, yeah, St. Kitts, you...
But is that a good thing, though?
That's why I said for me.
At the rate of change, globally, at the rate of change, we are going to be experiencing the change that should occur in a year in a very short.
No, not if you're staggering it. So not everybody is growing at the same pace. But when I get to where I want to get to, I will be really good. But the people who started growing 20 years ago, at this point, will be really good. So if you're staggering it that way, not everyone's going to grow at the same. But the point is, I don't have the stress that people have in the U.S. I don't have it. You understand? And people actually would love to come and work here away from that stress because they feel that they can enjoy that same luxury that we do.
Lots of them are working here. Lots of them are occupying high positions that, the average Kittitian we don't compete with because we don't speak about career and career development. So I'm sure the masses could agree with me that we have lots of persons who are imported who are enjoying the laissez-faire approach. I
wouldn't call it laissez-faire approach. I know my deficiencies, I know my weaknesses, and I know what I need to do. So let's say I graduated with a master's in telecoms and networking. The opportunities that are afforded to me here when I came to St. Kitts, I wouldn't have had in the US. You understand? I was able to make mistakes and learn from the mistakes in a way that did not cost me dearly.
I don't even want to talk about migration and work and all the implications that you are saying, what it has to the Kittitian. especially in the realm of education. So I'm just going to say hallelujah, because that's a conversation I intend to have. Migration and work, and how the foreigner is occupying spaces that we don't have chances to occupy because we don't have the competitive advantage. And again, in terms of identity and development, how it is missing from our school spaces. Because when you look at the organizations in St. Kitts, the organizations that push the thrust of development, the organizations that are pivotal to what it is to be Kittitian, a lot of them are not led by Kittitians, you know. If you pick the organizations that are at the forefront for development in St. Kitts and Nevis, they're not led by Kittitians. And the masses working in those organizations would tell you.
Okay, you indicated that. Give one that is instrumental and not led by a Kittitian.
One, CFBC, we have tourism. You want me gone more? A lot of them ain't led by Kittitians. We know this. Don't act Azard. You're playing for controversy. We have our highest education institution not led by Kittitians. And we only have one wing or three.
You know, listening to you guys, I come back to my point on Vivek Ramaswamy, where he literally, I'm sorry, but he ran on a paradigm of what it means to be an American, and that was his platform, because he did say that Americans did lose their identity, and he was bringing that back. And maybe we do need a politician who can run on that platform of what it means to be a Kittitian.
He's looking at
and
you.
At that point, we can take this.
You can't look at Jess. Everybody's looking away. What's going on here?
Okay, we've got Fireproof coming up next, guys.
Yeah,
and
it's been hot in here, so we have to bring in the fire cheese.
We have to bring in the water.
Hope you guys brought an appliance, because you might need a hose down in there.
St. Kitts, I love you.
I love St. Kitts and Nevis, man.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
And we got Fireproof coming up. It's on 9:31. Now, today is your lucky day. It's open mic. So the firemen will be taking your questions, all the things you ever needed to know about firefighting and fire safety and so on. Their rescue services, all of that. St. Kitts Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. We've got 2 officers on deck. It's open mic day, so give them a call. Ask your questions. Ask away. That's coming up. Here we go.
We're back to Island Tea. Our final segment for this morning, we have Fireproof. And Jamsa played the song that I never could catch the lyrics of, but it has a really nice beat.
Keep up. Okay.
Yeah, so we're here with our fire officers. We have Inspector and Sergeant of the Fire Services, and so we welcome them here this morning yet again, and we invite them as we discuss topics as relates to fire prevention and security. So, Inspector, Sergeant, I yield the floor to you, either one of you at this point in time.
Good morning, hosts and listeners to this another Fireproof conversation. We are pleased to be here once again. Last week we left we had a very good conversation. Person who were calling in and giving us some ideas and asking us questions and giving us some suggestions. So rather than for us to maybe take up most of the time, we want to hear from our listeners today. Let's have a different approach, because there might be some person out there who are disgruntled, and we might have some who wish to give us some good advice. So this morning we just have a more interactive conversation. If not, we just have to, just piggyback on some of the issues that we had in the past. So basically, that's my open statement for today.
Okay, and so the topic last week, Inspector, just for persons who might not have known last week, could you engage with us the topic last week?
Well, basically, we had started out talking about our mission and vision statement. We were about to dive into the different zones within the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire Rescue Services. We have 6 stations, 7, but one is yet to be manned. That is in Nevis, Mr. Hart, that's coming. So we say 7.5. So basically, yes, we have the Bay unmanned as well. So that's his 8.
What does unmanned mean?
The station is there, but no fire plans and there are no officers.
I could go.
Which one? Newcastle or Dearbear?
Dearbear. I just need a hat and the jumpsuit.
You're going to need an appliance. You can drive a appliance, big fire truck.
No.
700 gallons of
water. She can be trained.
So yes.
And she could have the background song of.
But I just want to put on record that I would like to be a volunteer firefighter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You'd like to become a volunteer firefighter?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm too old, but I think.
No, you're not too old at all. Now is a good time to be a volunteer as we're trying to get back and stream our regular volunteer service.
Mm-hmm.
That was a group of persons we had over the years that would respond to fires with us by their own means if necessary. Once we have any large fires, it could be small, but we just want a little help.
Mm-hmm.
Persons, when they hear the truck going, just by way of a call from our guard room, according to which area it is, the persons would be contacted and they actually come out and assist. Volunteers normally have their own gears and so forth. They are given the same jumpsuit, as you call it. We call it bunker gear, though. Just so that you know. Yeah, so they are given some items of uniform for firefighting purposes. And as I say, and Nevis, if I must say, we normally have a good volunteer system going. And it has worked in our favor. Nevis has always been short-staffed, and kudos to our volunteers who always show up, always come out and assist. Volunteers to the extent where persons come out with their water trucks to supply us with water to aid the small appliance that we had in Nevis.
Backhoes.
The backhoes and heavy equipment to cut off fires in area where necessary. And kudos to them. The Nevis and volunteers, they greatly assist us in the fire department. Not talking bad about our Sinkers volunteers, but it's just a vast difference.
What do you think might contribute to the difference?
Well, honestly,
culture, how they see themselves in the community.
Well, it could be, and from what I know, in speaking to the volunteers in Nevis, a lot of them, they love the firefighting profession, but they're just like everything else what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It might be driving a bus, driving the same backhoe, working at Four Seasons. They don't want to give it up, but they come out and assist us still.
Okay.
So we're trying to revive the whole volunteer system. Now because we used to give them a little stipend every 6 months.
Yes.
That has been seized for some reasons. But we welcome volunteerism.
And
I would like to be a voluntary firefighter community officer. Me think I'm going on the fire. I want the weirdo, just like for Instagram. But but I would like to be like a community officer. Like, you do different outreach programs with the children, with different areas in the community, like that. So like a volunteer firefighter community officer. So to help you build the summer camp and,
Yes, I was just getting to that. The summer safety program, we welcome any help that we could get. I think the biggest span we had over any of the years was about 700 plus children for the week. They have been talk about the fire safety the fire safety camp, where we hope to extend it just a little bit, but it would take funding for that. So I would like to use the opportunity to appeal to the general public, all the business owners, even just the ordinary man who feel, boy, I could donate even $20 to the fire service and let them put it towards that fire camp. I think that would be a good suggestion.
I'm told we have some calls coming in. Awesome. Go ahead.
Okay, caller, go. Okay, we did have a couple. Okay, I'm sure they're going to keep coming. They just started coming in, so go ahead. Okay, here we go. Fireproof, you're on.
Yes, good morning. Just a question for the officers. That fire at the airport in Japan 2 weeks ago, it seemed to go on for an inordinate amount of time. One would expect, like an airport fire, they throw everything at it, and it would be out in a matter of certainly under an hour. But it seemed to burn forever. I just wondered if the officers had any thoughts about why. And secondly, I suppose there are international standards for firefighters and firefighting equipment at airports. I don't know if they are ranked and different levels depending on the size of the airport and so on. But how do we fare in that regard? And the other question is, can we fight a fire at sea? Or can you fight a fire at sea? Are you equipped to do such? Suppose there's one at a cruise ship docked, or even out in the sea, a boat is on fire. Can you deal with that? And finally, I know NEMA has disaster plans, but we know you're located right next to the bulk station. If there's an incident there, is there a plan to evacuate certainly at least East Bastille to more safer environments if that happens? Those are the questions.
So could you guys manage a fire on sea, and what capacity do we have to prevent out fires at the airport? So I guess it's our air and seaport, the capacity to manage and out fires.
All right, caller, thank you for your question. Let's start with the fire at sea. Presently, the fire department is not equipped to out any fire at sea, sadly.
The Coast Guard.
But our chief, Mr. Williams, has been soliciting a fire boat to help us in that capacity. However, the Coast Guard is equipped to do so. They are equipped with water cannons and fire hoses on their boat. Also, what I could speak about what I've seen, there was a fire at sea sometime there. It was some years back, just off the coast in Sandy Point. And I am sure that it was the Mark Twain who actually came down and assisted with that, with the same water cannon. So some of those ferries, I don't know what protocol they have though, but I know some of them are equipped to do so. But our first line of defense for that, our first line is the Coast Guard. To answer the question where you spoke about if a cruise ship is docked and on fire, what capacity we have to deal with it. The protocol, as far as I know, for those cruise ship or any ship, as a matter of fact, once they are on fire and close to residential area, they should take out the boat to the ocean to prevent or minimize any damage to the port or to the community that it's by. You asked a question also about the bulk station. Mr. Clark, you want to touch that or should I continue?
Continue, please.
All right. The question about the bulk fire, the bulk station and if there may be a fire. And I would be honest, the flame spread for gasoline is 800 feet per second. 800 feet per second. That's the flame spread for gasoline.
It's very tall.
So, in truth and in fact, if there is a fire at the bulk station and it is somewhat contained, the evacuation plan for East Bastia is for the police vehicles that have any microphone on them to go around asking persons to evacuate, and any fire vehicle that is available to do that would assist. However, if one of those gasoline tanks is supposed to blow, then there isn't much that could be done. The fire station being in that close proximity and anybody else who lives around, they would perish.
You mean up by Newtown?
Yes, right in
Wait. So why are you saying if that place up there is to blow up?
It would take up most of Bastia with it.
Wait. So all the training in Newtown school gone dead? No, we gotta say it like what gonna really happen so people could understand. So all the training in Newtown school gone dead and the deck here, downtown Bastia, they're gonna have like a historic Bastia fire again. So why was it allowed to be built in a habited area, or was it built and then the other things were built around it?
That's probably above their pay grade, I think. So
I don't think we're bad. How long now the bulk station has been there?
Yes, and the bulk station have its precautions just like any of the gas stations right outside the hospital.
You notice you say everybody gone dead?
You suggested that everybody would dead. I suggested that it would be a catastrophe.
Okay, we have a call. Call over right ahead.
Good morning, Fire Officer.
Hey.
Good morning, host and hostess.
Good day.
I just want to say thanks to you guys. I got to stop you. That's what I want to say. I had a meeting with a good friend of mine, and he said, "Don't want to say, just say what you got to say." So I'm saying, so thanks to you guys for bringing such programs forward, and I like the idea of bringing back the volunteer firefighters back to the table. I did once had the training also to be a firefighter, which I was successful. And I hope that they will bring it back on board so you could have lots of people and you have on board trained in firefighting. Like the statement that he made, having a vessel out to sea, and the officer who is in charge will assess the condition of the vessel, and his first assessment to the vessel is to make sure that all lives are saved and are removed from that property, and that property is removed from others that they will not be able to catch on fire. So do houses. So if a house catch on fire, you make sure you move all personnel, make sure they're safe, assess the damages, and see how best you could secure other properties around it. So the whole idea is prevention. And all ships that are taken out to sea, those able seamen have what you call fire training, fire and drill training and safety to make sure that they bring the vessel back home in a safe condition. But if not, they need to abandon ship to save the lives of others. Those are the main keys. At the end of the day, spashers, we are always at risk in some way or another, and these tanks don't blow so easy. you could scratch a match and throw it right into the tank and it will not blow. So, but don't try it.
I was just here thinking, let's not give the youngsters ideas.
Because you take oxygen and you take fuel. There are three components that really give you fire. So they don't blow so easy. They take time and they take a real blast or path to catch fire. But I want to say thanks again, and I'm not saying want to. I am saying thanks again for bringing these programs to us, and so that our people will be more educated and dedicated. And no one could be fully into a job if he is tainted in any way or another, because somewhere along the line he's going to be uncomfortable. So it's best to stay clean at all costs.
Caller, could you just
from any corruption.
Caller, could you tell us your name? I really appreciate your commitment to this topic, and you seem well informed. Could you tell us who you are, please?
They call me the Ranger. That much I will say to you.
The Ranger?
They call me the Ranger.
Okay, thank
and
you very
someday
much.
I'll give you my name and my true identity. Just damn to know who I am, I guess so. But I don't. One can do much good without trying to look for recognition from it or by it. So I think that's the best way to go. Rather than go around and say I should be recognized and pushing up your thumb and your collar, I believe that you should be more working behind the scene. Let who want to go in front, but work behind the scene and give information the best way you can.
All right, Ranger.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
All right, Ranger, and thank you very much for adding clarity to the cruise ship. I even forgot to speak about the seamen, as they have all the staff on board trained to do whatever, and they have the ample water out there as well.
The other part of the question,
from the sea.
I don't know if you guys had seen the Japanese fire.
Yes, I would have saw that Japanese fire where the aircraft
was it
down.
like a controlled burn? Maybe
No,
was it?
It was a crash. A plane.
No, but he was asking why it took so long to.
Okay, why it took so long, I can't say.
Okay.
However, for airport firefighting, because of so much lives involved in any of the incidents on the airport, the first priority is to save and secure the lives of persons. From what I heard, it was some 300 and something passengers on board one of the aircraft, and all of the lives were safe from that. But I think about 5 lives would have been lost from the other aircraft. That
everyone on the other plane died. Yeah.
Okay, so
everyone on the other plane.
Yeah, it was a
died?
Dash 8. Yeah,
Wow.
a Japanese military Dash 8.
yeah, so I can't say exactly what would have caused the fire to go on so long, but once persons were removed from the wreckage, then persons would be treated other than the fire, other than trying to control the fire, especially if the fire is free burning in an area that it cannot spread.
So the priority is to take the people out of the plane first, so to secure 300 and something lives. I imagine no matter how fast you're working would take some time, and to remove them from the site, and then you go and take care of the firefighting. The other plane, it's a Dash 8. Could you explain to me what that is?
That plane was bringing supplies. They had just had the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
That plane was bringing emergency supplies, and there was a sensor. The thinking is that because of the earthquake, there was some sensors embedded in the runway that malfunctioned, and so the pilots, there was like miscommunication, and the planes collided.
That's like real error.
Yeah, so the Dash 8, the military Dash 8 collided with the passenger plane. Yeah.
Oh, and the 5 people on the plane died?
The 5 soldiers died.
Wow.
Or airmen, I guess, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, we have another call. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good morning, the panel.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jam down.
I wanna first about the ships down at the port. You know, we getting a big, the world largest ship tying up down there in Patches Pier. The same pier was the worst thing in the world there before yesterday. But it's gonna become the best thing. And everybody gonna take the biggest praise for the pier. But Michelina,
yes, Jam
poor
down.
people defender. We want to see the public officials them done with the party politics. Invite people down there who was the cause of that pier for that ship to dock there when the time is right. Patches labored for Timothy Harris and others who was instrumental in it. The guy who was in charge of the port at the time, we have to start to do things right. Otherwise, we going to get to do it right, you know. We going to get to do it right. Fire officers, why is it the chief is not coming to this program? The chief must come, and he got to find a time to come. For instance, I jam down, I'm not a ranger. I jam down, we like the fire chief to put something in place to get officers down at the port when ships dock down there. You travel anywhere around the Caribbean, where behind us. They got a boat, they got personnel, and the port. You see some vagabondness done in the past with them lands down there surrounding that port, you know. Because all you was to get officers was to be out there. Politicians was to sell these land because the best Indian friend and the best use. We was to get, oh my Father, help us here in this world. Have a good day, my brethren.
Thank
you
you,
very
Jam
much, Jam Dong. Thank
Very
you.
passionate.
Very. And I like what he said about integrating those that developed and contributed to the work of this historic moment, be included and not just make it participant, so one set of person get the praise. But the fact that he brought it to the forefront means now that the country has an opportunity to know that what he said, the patches pair, will be used.
Yeah. You see how he bought in that.
The patches pair. No, the people's voice is the people's platform, so it's
Patches
the people's
pair,
voice.
hey.
The patches pair. I want to ask a question of the firefighters. And you know, I don't know a lot of things, but I'm learning and I'm interested. The cruise ships, do they have their own like rescue and fire services aboard the ship?
Well, I don't know if they actually call it rescue and fire services. Okay, we have
a caller.
Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning, greeting, Brother Jamster. Good morning, Mother Earth,
Michelina.
teacher.
Yes.
And
teacher,
good
right?
morning, Azard and the fire officers there.
Good morning.
And Win FM, good morning to you all in via radio and internet. Now, I just listened to a caller, and I find it very strange to hear how a caller emphasizes and talking them. After when you hang up, you all emphasizing that he's very passionate. Well, let me say this here. Our peer could be a political peer name. Let me ask a question of that farm. We have to do with the joke in this, so we are different on here, you know. And this is why I speak because we have no part or no political affairs. Our people have sacrificed their life in 1935, and not even one of these instances of our people have been respected up to this time here. And it's 89th anniversary we're going into to commemorate the buckle of rising. But I hear pursuing for gangsterism of the political parties them and the individual aspect of these political parties. You all are very strict on our educating our people. You all have a lovely day here. Right on.
Thank you very much, Rasta. We appreciate it, and we do echo your sentiments again. This is the people's platform, and so it's the people's perspective.
Good thing you guys are fireproof after that call.
What he's saying is that do not politicize a pair, do not call it the patches pair, but make it the people's pair. And I think he's actually saying the same thing as Jamdong. Allow the people who contribute towards its development and existence to be a part of it. And in doing that, remember the people for the Buckley's riot and not just the politicians as needed.
Fireproof, you're on. Go ahead.
Jamdong is back.
Hello? Hello?
Jamdong, we can't hear you.
Hello? Jamdang? Jamdang and his trans-dimensional phone. I don't know.
Jamdang, your phone's not working well. We
Okay.
cannot hear you.
But the thing though, Jamdang gets in all the time, it seems. Like there's some persons who say that they can't get in, but whatever phone he has gets him on the air.
Maybe that's the reason why he keeps that phone. All right, so while we wait on another call, Miss Michelina was asking a
We
question.
do have one here. Fireproof, go right ahead.
Good morning to all the radio listeners and to the host of the program. History gives us our place and time in the world. It's a clock. And that clock also gives us our identity as to where we came from and where we should go as a people. For far too long, we have not really taught our history, and we have not developed our history. We have not tried to input that history into the minds and people of St. Kitts. And I'll give you two examples here. In my opinion, the 1930s Buckley's uprising should be a prominent holiday in the lives of St. Kitts and Nevis. People should be able to identify with such a momentous occasion in the annals of St. Kitts and Nevis, so that they could have that identity that we are not just people here to work, but when things are not going correctly, we can make a stand for the collective improvement of our people. Secondly, Marcus King of the Woods and Better Douglas should also have their own holiday, so that our people could be taught about the importance of these people. And these things should be taught in primary school, preschool, and high school. This is where, when our people will get that true identity of who they are, and will be able to chart a more serious, progressive, and healthy future. Just becoming a republic is not enough to do it. We need to have our history celebrated. Our history should be, as I said, big.
Okay, caller.
Really massive.
Okay, caller. This is actually the fireman's program, but we take your point. But we went off the reservation a little bit there, but okay, guys. So I guess it's time to wrap. We give you guys the last word.
Okay, briefly, if I could just get in the answer to Michelina's question about the personnel on the ship. They are very much cross-trained to deal with any issues, since basically they are on an island by themselves in the water. So they're on the
boat
ship.
is considered an island?
Well, I'm saying that's what it is. It's a group of persons, and we know how persons could be. It's you're cruising, basically having a party for days on the water.
I've never been on a ship, so
hopefully I'll be on one later this year. So they do their own policing on the boat. If they have issues with persons when they come to a port, then they may deal with the local authority if necessary, and their firefighting experiences, any medicals, everything they do on that boat for themselves. So yes, I know they do have the firefighting capabilities. They have the hose. They have very large pumps on the ship that push more water than maybe our fire trucks can.
And they would get it from the sea, right?
From the sea, yes. So they are very much capable, but in terms of experience and knowledge, we at the fire department could assist. But I mean, it's your house. You could walk around your house in the dark and I can't come and do it. So it's just rendering assistance to them where necessary, just as a local firefighting team.
So they're already capable and have equipped
Yes.
to deal with the fires on the big cruise ships. So whatever, if something happens in port in St. Kitts, we'll just be facilitating, but it's not like we are at risk.
We should not be at risk, and we could, if anything is spilled over to the land itself, the firefighters deal with that. And those on the ship really supposed to be dealing with themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you so much for coming into Island Tea today and having another Fireproof. It's been an interesting talk. I want to thank you for those persons who engaged with us today. We really had a very interesting topic. It was not a topic that was planned, but one that stimulated much discussion. I want to say today is the anniversary of the People's Action Movement. The People's Action Movement celebrates 59 years in existence, starting from the 9th of January 1965. Yes. In addition to that, I will be taking just a short break from the program, so we're going to have for a short time. I won't be on Island Tea, but I'll be listening and watching. Yes.
So this is your last day?
No, I just taking a short break.
I mean, like your last day before you break?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, guys, interesting program. Stick and stay.
Okay, so hope you guys have a great weekend, and like I always say, hope you guys have a fire-free week. Okay.
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
You got anything to say?
All the happy Friday and all the best for the weekend, and see you guys on Monday.
That works.
You know this song Jamster?
Which one?
The one that we don't have the lyrics to.
You mean Drift?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one to play out.
Well, I said you make up some lyrics and lead us out with it now. Those are not the lyrics.
That's too funny.
Pam, today we celebrate you.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
You ever hear earthquake call and say,